Hey guys, F1March26 here. Welcome to highlights of round 1 for season 4 of the F1 League, and of course we are here at Australia today as we're coming to start our fastest qualifying lap now. Got a reasonable exit out the final corner as we now head down the pit straight towards turn 1. We go down into third gear. You could possibly use 4. We nail the curb nicely and get on the power nice and early for a good exit down the second DRS straight now towards turn 3. Picking second gear for this corner to give yourself, and you need to give yourself a good exit. We run a bit too wide there, but didn't cost too much time. Third gear through turn 4 there, we're taking that very nicely. This game still just about flat out through turn 5 there as we head to the end of the first sector split. Difficult corner here, very easy to corner cut or get the car unsettled by the curves, but we managed to get through there very nicely as we now head down towards turn 9. We choose to use second gear through here. Some people will use third. We get the car nicely hooked up through there and a reasonable exit as well as we now head down the back straight. Mike Marshmallow's gone fastest, but we're actually purple through the middle sector as it stands, so hopefully we can maintain that through the last sector, but there's lots of places where you can make little mistakes which will lose you a lot of time. So third gear for this corner now, flipping the apex nicely and getting a good exit once again. I'm going to go for fourth gear for here, but we turn in too early and we take too much curb there, and that will lose us a bit of time. So we now need to nail these last two corners if we want to remain ahead of Mike. That was alright, and now coming into the last corner we have to adjust the turn in to prevent us from losing the back end. So I suspect we will not get near Mike as we head across the line now, and yes, it is only a 25.9. So now on our second attempt we're actually up through sector 1 as we head through the chicane, but we've been unsettled on the curb and we've very almost binned it in the wall there. So unfortunately we didn't have any more sets of super soft, so that's the end of our qualifying session. And RBZ nicked pole right at the end there with a 25 flat ahead of Mike with a 25.1 and the Silent Mole with a 25.4. So unless I pulled out an absolute beastly lap, I don't think I would have been able to get into the top 3. But that's a shame because I couldn't get any qualifying points, but 4th place is still a good starting position. So then, here we are on the grid, and as you can see we're looking at the strategy and the game is telling us to do super soft, 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 which yep, I think that's a good strategy. If we push the tires really hard we might be able to do super soft, soft, super soft, but we're not going to risk that. We're going to play it safe here and just try and bring home a good result. So we're coming with the lights on now for the formation lap, and once again, as I said last week, you don't need to see this, so luckily we didn't get kicked off or anything once again, so we'll cut to us coming up onto the grid now. But yeah, so we need to focus on the start now. It's going to be important to get a good start, as it's not a particularly long run down towards turn 1. Lights are coming on now then. We have 4 lights, and now we have 5, and it's lights out, and away we go for Season 4 of the F1 League. It's a reasonable start from everyone in the top 4, but Luke seems to have got the best start, and Silent Mole there going around the outside of Mike. We're going to have a look as well around the outside of turn 1, but Carol's actually managed to go through us there, so a bit of weird ghosting and lag there, I think, and we've lost the back end on the curb, and that's allowed Sam and Hamilton Van to go past. A bit of contact with Hamilton Van there, and that's put us off, and we braked a bit early there, and there's a Toro Rosso who's come flying up the inside, and there's a huge amount of contact with us there, and well, I'm not particularly pleased with that, to be honest, because that move from the Toro Rosso was ridiculous, and now he's run really wide into turn 5. He smashed into the wall and he's out in the race, and to be honest, I'm not too sad about that, because that move could have completely ruined my race as well as other people's. But now we actually have a safety car as we for the second time in 2 races, as there was one in the test race as well, and surprisingly one has been deployed on lap 1, so that gave us a chance to maybe come into the pit lane, but I decided not to. I decided to stay out on my damaged wing because I looked at it and it was only like yellow on the graphics, so it wasn't as bad as in Baku, so I thought I'd risk it and stay out and see if we could maintain our normal strategy. So at the end of lap 2, coming around the penultimate corner, Sam thinks about going into the pits, but Mike makes a very late call there to go into the pit lane, and I don't think that's a particularly good call from him, because instead of pitting last lap when he would have been ahead of all the other people who pitted, he's now going to be right at the back of the field, and that's could ruin his race. But then now the safety car is coming in on the next lap, and RBZ is leading the pack away, but Carol's run wide at the final corner. Sam's going to have a look there as we now head down towards turn 1. We're getting in the slipstream. I doubt we'll be close enough, but we're here to pick up the pieces if there is any contact, which is always possible if we head down to turn 1. Sam's actually braked a bit early. We're going to think about going around the outside, but we're back out of that and run out too wide on the curb. But Sam's had a massive drift through turn 2 there. He's lost a lot of momentum through that, and we're going to go through. Sam is on the soft tyres, by the way, and I suspect he might be trying a one stop here, as he usually tries a bit of an alternate strategy. So then, this was the place where we were losing time from the wing damage. We completely understeer past the apex there, and once again, really out wide onto the curb. But yeah, apart from the high speed chicane, where as you can see, we're losing quite a bit of time, the front wing damage wasn't really hindering us for the rest of the track, and we were able to just about stick with Carroll. As you can see, Sam made a mistake there and ran wide into the gravel here, as we now head into the penultimate corner. Silent Mole is actually taking lead, but Carroll is in the pit lane, so that's going to promote us up to third. And once again, another questionable strategy, and he's going to drop very near the back, and I'm not sure what strategy he's going to go for from there. I suspect he'll go soft, no, super soft, medium, soft, but that's not the optimal strategy. So then now at the end of lap 5, coming around the final corner, there's a car in the wall. Silent Mole is out of the Grand Prix. He spun off the curb on the outside of the final corner. A very weird crash, if I do say so myself, because I've seen it. He hardly touched the curb, and then suddenly, boom, he was flying off to the right into the pit wall. So that promotes us into the net P2, as Mike Marshmello has also retired from the race after a collision with Swiss King, as he was trying to make his way back through the field. But then, at the end of lap 6, RBZ comes into the pit lane, and that means we're going to lead a lap, which is quite nice. After not having led a lap for the whole of last season, we are going to lead one here, and but at the end of lap 7, our fun comes to an end, and it's time to pit for a new wing and some tyres. Quite a bit cautious on the pit entry there, but I decided to take caution over aggression and the possibility of getting a penalty there. As we head into the pit box now, we should get a new front wing, which of course the team will deliver for us, but that's going to give us a slower stop, and it could cost us a couple of positions, potentially depending on where everyone is on the track. We're down to 6th at the moment. That's going to become 7th as Carroll and Hamilton Fan go through, which puts us down to 8th. Vapid Coot is also in the pit lane behind us, but that's not ideal, but we should have the pace advantage over some of these guys, especially Carroll, who was on the mediums, so hopefully that will give us a chance to catch them very quickly. So then, at the end of lap 9, we've caught up to the back of Carroll. We'll want to get past him as quickly as possible so we can get on with our race, setting the fastest lap in the process of a 28 flat, I think that is, if I can just about see. Carroll manages to hang it round the outside, though we weren't quite aggressive on the inside. Then he lags back through turn 2, and we had to lift off the throttle there, but we should be able to get the move done up the inside of turn 3 now. But we brake too late there, we've run very deep, and Carroll should have really tried the switch back there, but he didn't, and I forced him off, so we'll have to give him the place back there, because that was a very dirty move. To be honest, we didn't give him all the space that he should have had and deserved. So skipping a few corners later, we're going to try and overtake him again as we now come through the high-speed chicane. We've pretty much nailed that. Carroll has not got such a good exit. We're going to use the slipstream now, so try and go round the outside into turn 13 now. We brake slightly later, but he's still there on the inside. We're going to still try and go around the outside, but nope. Carroll's like, nah mate, have some grass, and we are unable to make the position stick. So I was quite annoyed at this point, because after letting him through for a similar incident, he then decides to force me off the track. But Carroll realised his mistake, I believe, and then he told me that he let me through here, so there's still a bit more lag there. So I was very cautious going through him here, going past him. He told me he let me through, so that was very kind of him, as we now move up into 7th. So next up is Hamilton Fan, and we're going to have to be even more cautious when racing around him, due to the fact that he can sometimes be very aggressive. So then, end of lap 11, we have caught up to Hamilton Fan, who is indeed battling with Swiss King, and I believe there is a car in the pit lane, and that is Sam, I think, as he's trying the one stop. So we're going to have to pass him again later in the race, as we're going to look up the inside of Hamilton Fan. He completely shops off turn 1 there. It was a good thing we backed out, otherwise we were so getting turned in on. But he's now trying to look over Swiss King. This could get very messy, so we're going to try and stay out of the trouble, hang back. We're going to go into turn 3, but Swiss King has literally parked the bus there. We had to be very careful to avoid crashing, and Hamilton Fan has got the move done. So we need to try and get past Swiss King, and he's just made that very easy for us by completely running off the track. I think he might have some front wing damage, but we're going to have to go after Hamilton Fan now and get past him as quickly as possible so we can get after anyone else who might be attempting the one stop, who I think is Casey and Dorsch. So coming down into turn 9, we're going to be very cautious into here. We've got a good exit, so maybe we can have a look into the high-speed chicane, although I don't particularly want to be running side-by-side with anyone through there, so we're going to have to try and get the move done before the chicane. But no, we haven't quite. Hamilton Van still hanging it around the outside. We're going to have to leave him the space. We're going to go for the cutback, because I don't want to be on the outside of the chicane there, because I'm not sure how much space Hamilton Fan would have given me. But we're going to now go round the outside into turn 13. Can we hang it round the outside? Yes, we can. Fantastic overtake there, if I do say so myself. And we're up into P4 with RBZ in front of us. But we were 3 or 4 seconds behind RBZ when he came into the pit. So let's look at the gap now as we head towards the line, because I reckon we've lost a lot of time. As you can see on the minimap, we are a long way behind. As Hamilton Fan, I don't think is close enough to try and get the move done. As you can see, the gap is 15.2 seconds. He is miles ahead of us here as we come down into turn 1 there. So we might have our work cut out here as we're now into P4 with Gorsh Crab in the pit lane at the end of lap 13. So that should move us up into P3. Indeed it does, but we're going to have our work cut out if we do want to beat Gorsh in this race, and especially Casey Legend, who is still leading the race. But at the end of lap 14, Casey comes into the pit lane, which therefore means that RBZ resumes the lead and I resume in second place. But it's not a net second, because it's really a net fifth, because Gorsh, Casey and Sam are all in front of me realistically as we now come onto lap 16 through the chicane. We've run out very wide on the curb and a huge slide there. Very, very lucky. That could have been us in the wall and our race over. 0 points, but luckily we managed to save it there. So that was very good stuff. So then RBZ is in the pit lane again, and this time it's gone for a set of medium tires. So maybe we might have a shout here if we do have some pace as we now head through the chicane on lap 18, doing a bit of a drift there, and we need to be very much careful as Lexbox 1 is currently in second place, because we don't want to spin out. We've got some good points in the bag here as we head into the pit lane for our second and final stop. So we're going to have to calm it down a bit. Don't go for any don't be too aggressive over the curb through the chicane, as Lexbox 1 and Casey Legend are already past, as is RBZ. So we're going to come into our pit box, which is right at the end of the pit lane, of course, because we're in the Haas, which is a new team, and we're going to put on a set of soft tyres once again to try and run to the end. We're currently in P6, but that's because Lexbox 1 hasn't pitted yet, and when he pits we shall move up into P5. So we need to get after Sam and Gorsh Crab, who appear to be battling over what is effectively P3. Yes, P3. When Lexbox pits, as you can see, he is now doing that at the end of lap 20 as we bang in a 27.8. Is that? I can't quite see, the screen is quite small. But yeah, another fastest lap of the race for us, so that's looking good for us. But now, lap 22, only 2 laps later, we've caught up to Gorsh, who appears to have lost the position to Sam. But we want to get past Gorsh as soon as possible. We're going to try and go around the outside into this corner, just like we did last season, but Gorsh backs out of it. Maybe he's trying to be clever and use me as a way to get past Sam, but Sam has no obligation to get out of the way, so I'm just thinking he was protecting his own race there. But we're now up into P4, and we are eyeing up this podium that Sam currently holds as we come through the high-speed chicane. Sam's drawn very wide on the exit there, and this is going to give us a chance into turn 13. We're going to have to be quite aggressive though under brakes, which we are up the inside now, clipping the apex nicely. We have to leave space on the outside though, because Sam is still there. But coming into turn 14, we are now in front, and we can shut the door so he has no chance of hanging it around the outside. So RBZ has crossed the line now, so I don't really think there's any chance of us getting past him. But Casey Legend, there might be a small chance of us passing him, but I doubt it very much unless he makes a mistake as we cross the line. Here, as you can see, it's 11.3 seconds as we do just about manage to defend from Sam. He wasn't close enough with the DRS. So I think we're just going to be driving home for third place now. Sam and Gorsh don't appear to have the pace, and Casey, I think, is slightly too quick at this moment in time as we once again keep the position down into turn 3. So cutting on to lap 25 then, coming towards the end of sector 1, and we turned in way too early corner cut, and we got a deserved penalty there. So I'm not going to complain about that. I was just too aggressive on the track limits this week, and we've got a deserved 3-second penalty, so that's a shame. But as you can see on the mini-map, there's a car who's come out of the pits, and that's actually Swiss King, who's a lapped car. And as you can see, there's now a yellow flag, so I believe Swiss King and Casey have actually crashed as we head into turn 2 here. And as you can see, Casey is in the wall, so that has gifted us second place there. And that is so unlucky for James there, as he really did deserve to win well, not to win, to get second place. He driven a fantastic race from the back of the grid as Swiss King gets out of the way of us here on lap 28. So yeah, we should be coming home in second place as we head towards the final 2 corners now. RBZ has won the race. Good drive from him. Maybe if I hadn't had front wing damage in the first stint, I might have been able to challenge him, but I don't think so. I think his pace was just too good throughout the race. We, however, are going to take second here in Australia, and Sam shall come home in 3rd place. So that's a good result for us, as you can now see the results. Everyone had a penalty apart from Vapid Coot, so good job to him. But RBZ takes the win, myself in 2nd with Sam in 3rd. Gorsh finished 4th, but penalties knocked him behind Hamilton Fan. Lexbox won in 6th. Vapid Coot in 7th. Casey Legend unfortunately dropping to 8th, and Swiss King was the last of the finishers down in P9. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed that race. Wasn't the most action packed, but still some good driving and overtaking from me. And I'll see you next time for the Bahrain Grand Prix.